I finally made it back home. The apartment was dark, except for the sickly neon bleed of the city slipping through the blinds. I peeled off my soaked clothes and left them in a damp heap by the door before stepping in a shower. Hot water hit my skin. It didn't help. Not really. The cold from that room, that feeling, stayed under my skin like it had learned how to live there. Eventually, I gave up trying to scrub it out. I got dressed, opened the fridge, and shoved leftovers into the microwave. The hum filled the small apartment, followed by the artificial smell of reheated chicken fried rice. Normal, dull, safe, but my thoughts weren't here. They were still in that room. White Mage, the voice, the gaze, the way the echo shouldn't have been able to do any of it. That wasn't supposed to happen. I talked to other White Mages before. Veterans, people who'd been in the field for decades. None of them ever mentioned an echo that noticed you. An ethereal sieve. That wasn't something you got. That was something you built. Slowly, painfully. I looked down my hand. The veins were gone, but I could still feel where they had been. The microwave dinged. Too loud. I ate in silence, rinsed the container, and collapsed onto the bed without thinking. My eyes closed, and the moment they did, something pulled. Not sleep, not memory, something else. The world didn't fade. It cut out. I wasn't in my bed anymore. I was standing in a space that defied all logic. A library of impossible proportions stretched out before me. Endless rows of towering shelves fading into a void of crushing, velvet darkness. There were no walls, only distance. Beyond the edges of the stacks, the cosmos itself seemed folded inward, as if this place had been carved directly out of reality. Swirls of nebulae drifted through the abyss, bruised purples, burning crimsons, and deep, ethereal blues, casting shifting light across the dark wood. Above me, there was no ceiling, only a jagged rift of starlight suspended in nothingness. It pulsed, once, then again, each beat matching my own. And for the first time since I'd arrived, I realized this place wasn't just around me. It was reacting to me. On the nearest shelves sat white crystals. Jagged, clean, familiar in a way that made my skin tighten. Echo cleanse, ethereal sieve. They weren't descriptions. They were sealed things. My hand hovered near one before I stopped myself. Something about touching them felt irreversible. Then I saw the center of the room, an obsidian pedestal, and on it a gold crystal. It didn't glow. It breathed, slow, heavy, alive. The air around it bent slightly, like reality didn't want to get too close. I couldn't look away. This wasn't part of anything I'd been taught. This wasn't White Mage classification. This was something higher. I started forward. The sound of my footsteps echoed through the endless library, slow, deliberate, and too loud in the crushing silence. Each step felt heavier than it should have, as if the space itself was watching me move. The white crystals faded behind me as I crossed deeper into the archive, moving toward the center, toward the gold crystal. It didn't glow, it breathed. Slow, heavy, patient. The air around it shimmered faintly, as if reality itself didn't want to get too close. My hand lifted slightly before I even realized it. Just a little closer. One more step. Ding! The sound sliced through everything. It was sharp, wrong, and impossible in a place that shouldn't have it sound like that at all. My vision fractured. The library, the shelves, the gold crystal, all of it collapsed like it had never been there. I was back in my room, the mattress sagging slightly beneath me as reality rushed in, dull and heavy compared to the impossible space I'd just inhabited. For a moment, I didn't move. My phone sat on a nightstand, its screen glowing softly in the dark with an unread notification. The room felt too small again, the walls pressing in, the air stagnant. My body felt heavier than it should have, as if something from the archive had followed me back and hadn't fully let go. The glass on my phone was still shattered, an ugly spiderweb of cracks that caught the light when I shifted, a permanent reminder of the day I stopped being part of that family. I stared at the name on the screen, Cynthia. My older sister. I let it sit there for a long moment without picking it up. I didn't need to open it. I already knew what it would be. Concern dressed up as control, or control dressed up as concern. Either way, I didn't want it. The screen dimmed on its own, and I rolled onto my side, turning my back to it, and to everything it represented. Exhaustion finally dragged me under. But sleep didn't last. A shrill electronic chirp tore through my skull, dragging me back into consciousness. My alarm, the same digital shriek I used back on Earth. A stupid, perfect continuity between worlds. I stared at the ceiling for a moment before sitting up, rubbing a hand through my hair. The feeling lingered. Not fatigue, something else. Like I'd left part of myself somewhere I couldn't quite remember. I forced it down. Showered. Cold water. Quick. Efficient. Dressed the same way I always did, plain black shirt, jeans, charcoal hoodie. A uniform designed to make me forget I existed. By the time I stepped out, the city was already awake. Cold air hit me immediately, sharp with exhaust and frying oil. The streets were alive in that mechanical way cities always are. Horns, engines, distant construction, voices layered over voices until none of them meant anything individually. I moved with them, just another shape in the flow. My stomach tightened as I passed a food stall, the smell of grease and sugar cutting through the air. I ignored it. Hunger wasn't the problem. Survival was. Somewhere in the back of my mind, something flickered. A memory that wasn't quite a memory. Gold crystal, a dark space, a pulse of gold. I blinked. It was gone. The District 4 Federation building rose ahead of me, a needle of obsidian glass stabbing into the smog-filled sky. It didn't just dominate the district, it watched it. Every window reflected the streets like an eye turned inward. At the top, the Federation's seal glowed, an enormous, unblinking symbol etched into the structure itself. Below it, scrolling in cold blue light, the Federation is watching. Not a warning, a reminder. The doors hissed open as I stepped inside. Noise died instantly, replaced by sterile air and controlled movement. People moved through the lobby like they were following invisible instructions, fast, precise, already late for something they couldn't afford to miss. I didn't need directions. I never did. Mission counter. Same place. Same routine. Samantha was already there. Blue Mage. Controlled expression. Control mana. Controlled everything. Brian, she said without looking up. I slid my card across the counter. 4562. Her fingers tapped once, eyes scanning data only she could see. 2 cleanses yesterday, she said. Total, 256 credits. A pause. Transfer confirmed. Ping. She slid the car back. Thanks, I said. I turned before she could respond. Before anything could linger. I checked my phone, no pending jobs. I stepped out of the Federation building and grabbed a quick bite from a street vendor. Finding a nearby bench, I sat and watched the world churn by, a gray-hoodied ghost in a sea of rushing suits. I was halfway through my food when the phone chimed. A notification from the dispatch app. District 4 Nursing Home. Natural death, lingering echo. I accepted the mission with a tap, tossed my trash, and caught the next bus. The nursing home looked less like a medical facility and more like a dormitory for the forgotten. Long, linoleum-floored hallways stretched out, lined with single rooms on either side. In the center, a sterile nurse's station sat piled high with pill bottles and thick files. I approached the orderly manning the desk, and he pointed toward the end of the hall without looking up. Room 14. I thanked him and started walking. As I passed the open doors, I caught glimpses of the residents, frail figures nestled in beds, some staring at the ceiling, others simply sleeping in the quiet decay of old age. I reached room 14. Even from the doorway, I could feel the echo thin and wisp-like. It lacked the jagged, adrenaline-fueled terror of a murder victim. This was slower, quieter, woven with strands of profound, heavy regret. Inside, the space was cramped. A single bed, a dresser, and a small table pulled up to the window. Sunlight crept through the blinds, stretching across the table like long, pale fingers. I held out my hand, bracing for the psychic pull, and let the cleanse take me. The world warped. I saw him, 90 years old, skin like parchment, eyes clouded by a milky film. He was clutching a photograph of a younger version of himself, a woman and a child. He held that ghost of a happier life until his final breath rattled out of his chest. I snapped back to the present. The room was empty, the echo was gone. My breath steadied as I lowered my hand, watching the black veins on my wrist pulse faintly before they settled, stopping just short of my forearm. No climb, no resistance, just stillness. It was too still. There was no cold surge, no invasive memory trying to overwrite my thoughts. There were only fragments of something softer, an old man holding a photograph a little too tightly, a life he didn't want to let go of. And then nothing, but the silence that followed didn't feel entirely normal. I lingered outside room 14 for a heartbeat, steadying myself before walking back to the orderly. Natural death echoes were the bread and butter of the job, easy, low risk, and undeniably the lowest paying. But even the quietest spirits could fester if left alone, turning into corrupted, jagged things that damaged anyone nearby. It was always better to scrub them clean before they reached that level of decay. I had the orderly sign off on the completion on my phone, then stepped back into the city air. The work was always a gamble. Some days, the Federation app pinged constantly, 4 or 5 jobs back-to-back, and some days the silence was deafening. The system only sent notifications to the White Mage nearest to the request. If you weren't fast, you didn't eat. Walking back, I passed a building marked with a harsh, yellow echo containment signage. A Federation officer stood guard by the door. As I passed, the door opened and a mage stumbled out, looking wrecked. His arms were a roadmap of failure, black veins spiderwebbed up his neck, the telltale sign of an echo that had fought back too hard. I felt a twinge of phantom pain just looking at him. My own wrists were clean, the sieve was holding. The app stayed dark for the rest of the day, and by 6 p.m., I logged out, the familiar hollow ache of exhaustion settling in as I trudged back to my apartment. I went through the motions, the heat of the shower, the lukewarm dinner, the mindless flicker of the television. The news was running a segment on a group of adventurers, those rift divers who made a living turning the unknown into entertainment. I watched for a moment. Smiling faces, clean armor, polished interviews, no hesitation in their voices when they talked about stepping into rifts. I exhaled through my nose. They didn't look brave. They looked uninformed. I shut the television off. The room collapsed into silence. For a while, I just sat there, staring at the dark screen as it reflected my own face back at me. Then something shifted. Not sound, not sight, a pressure behind my thoughts, like a door being opened somewhere I didn't remember locking. I closed my eyes, and the apartment stopped existing. I opened my eyes and found myself back in the Soul Archive. Nothing had changed, except for the new crystal on the shelf. It wasn't white like the others. It was perfectly clear, sharp, and faceted, almost invisible unless the starlight caught it just right. I stepped closer. The other crystals felt stable, but this one didn't. It felt like it was waiting. My fingers hovered for a moment before I touched it. The archive shivered, subtly, as if something had just been acknowledged. Light fractured inside the crystal, and a figure formed. The old man. He wasn't whole, just a flickering projection, his form stuttering like a broken signal. His eyes were still clouded, fixed somewhere past me, unnerving and distant. Then he spoke. "Son," the voice rasped, thin and dry. "Basement. Workbench. Safe. Code 12013985. The sequence repeated, too precise, too exact. A loop. I stared at him for a long second, my brow furrowing. You gotta be kidding me. I pulled my hand away, and the projection collapsed instantly, scattering into faint motes of light before being pulled back into the crystal. It was silent and still again, not gone, just waiting. I hesitated. White mages could extract testimony from violent deaths, names, faces, fragments of truth, but this wasn't testimony. This was intent, something left behind on purpose. My fingers brushed the crystal again. The man reappeared, same posture, same voice, same words. No deviation, no awareness, just repetition. I pulled back with a quiet exhale. Yeah, I'm not ignoring that. I closed my eyes, and the archive vanished. Back in the apartment, the silence hit harder than before. I grabbed a pen, scribbled the numbers onto a scrap of paper, and left it on the nightstand. I stared at it for a moment, then I leaned back against the wall, the pen still in my hand. The numbers stared up at me from the paper, 12013985. For a moment, nothing happened. Then something shifted. It wasn't a thought. It was a place, a narrow street, quiet, residential, the kind of place the city forgot to tear down. I could see it, not clearly, not fully, but enough. A small house at the end of the block. Faded paint, a sagging porch, light bleeding weakly through a window on the ground floor. Basement. The word didn't come with sound. It settled into place. Workbench. I could feel it now. Not emotion, not memory in the way echoes usually hit. There was no grief, no regret, no pain clawing its way through my chest. Just structure, like a set of instructions that hadn't finished executing. My fingers tightened slightly around the pen. That's new. I closed my eyes, expecting it to fade. It didn't. If anything, it sharpened. Not visually, but spatially. I knew where the door was. Knew how the stairs would creak on the third step. Knew the layout of a room I had never seen. My jaw tightened. I don't care, I muttered. The image didn't react. It didn't push harder. It didn't change. It just stayed. Waiting. That was worse. I opened my eyes and looked back down at the paper. The numbers felt heavier now. Not important. Not urgent. Incomplete. Like leaving a cleanse halfway through and walking away while something was still breathing. I exhaled slowly, dragging a hand down my face. You're kidding me. No response, no shift, no release. Just that quiet, persistent presence in the back of my mind. Basement, workbench, safe. I stared at the wall for a long moment before letting my head fall back against it with a dull thud. Tomorrow, I said under my breath. Because whether I liked it or not, something in me had already decided this wasn't over.